All right, people, week 14 in the NFL. Let's get right into it. In a thriller, the San Francisco 49ers edged the New Orleans Saints in a shootout 48-46. Jimmy G hooks up with George Kittle's on a last-minute 39-yard completion, plus a face mask penalty by Marcus Williams to have San Francisco with the go-ahead field goal to win 48-46. Now, San Francisco, they're the 12th team since 1978 to win 11 or more games after losing or winning only less than 5 the year before. What was your fellas' impression on this game, seeing that it really was hype? Both of these guys were 10-2 going into this game, and it really played out to be a game of the year for me. What do y'all think about the 49ers and the Saints today?
Well, I was more surprised that the 49ers defense gave up that many points. You know, they've been, for the most part, pretty locked in and consistent all season. So to see the Saints being able to do that's one thing that kind of I took away from it. And I didn't see the 49ers offense being that prolific like that as well.
Now, when you say you didn't see San Fran giving up that many points, J.O., is that because you don't have no respect for Drew Brees? I mean, we are talking about Drew Brees now. Like, let's be clear who we talking about.
I mean, I admit my respect on Brees, it wanders sometimes. But I never saw them scoring 46 points or something like I didn't see that happening at all.
This was a crazy game. I mean, 55 points total, over 580 yards in the first half between both teams. You talked about Jimmy G, how he went off. He was 26 for 35, 4 touchdowns, 349 yards and an interception. So he kind of did his thing in the loss. Mike, what's your opinion on the Saints 49ers game? What did you take from it?
I was surprised it was a shootout. I've seen both these teams play pretty well defensively this year and hold people to a low amount of points. And I'm just, first off, just shocked that both of them scored as many points as they did. And then I was also shocked at the fact that the 49ers were able to score that many points. Period, by themselves, other than my shock because both their defenses weren't holding up, you know what I mean, on both sides of their ball on their respective sides of the ball when they were playing defense. But I was just shocked that the 49ers scored 48 points. And it's a good game for it being an offensive shootout. It was very interesting watching Drew Brees just cut apart the 49er defense. Oh, my Lord, man. Him and Michael Thomas are nasty together. And, Michael Thomas is unstoppable. This dude catches everything, and his route running is just superb. And him and Drew Brees on the same page, and the way they bring Taysom Hill in there, they have a well-oiled machine on offense. And they did pretty well. They just messed up at the end because they had a chance to score a 2-point conversion to go up by 3, but they missed a 2-point conversion. And then, of course, the 49ers came down and kicked the field goal to win the game by 2. But all in all, it was a great game. I was very impressed by the Niners offense. And I'm still impressed by the Saints offense, even though they lost. They still played dang good. And so it was a great game. I don't know if it tells us anything about the future of the division as far as who's going to make it to the Super Bowl, but it was definitely interesting to see for what it was today.
Well, tell me when it's my turn, because I learned a lot. I have to beg to differ because, see, I learned a couple of things today after watching this game. Now, mind you, I'm watching this football game, and then we get down to right before the Saints got the go-ahead touchdown, San Francisco had 10 penalties. So I was like, yo, if San Fran lose this game, it's based off of what they didn't do, and they costing themselves the game. Then, lo and behold, we turn around and, we get a penalty from New Orleans, which allows Kittles to go past, with the 39-yard completion and the face mask. So, San Fran almost lost that game due to their mistakes. So I've learned that San Fran is still a work in the making. They still kind of incomplete as far as the 49ers go. What I learned from Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints fellas is that the Saints cannot win big games down the stretch. We can go back years ago to the playoff game in Minnesota. anytime Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints are in a close ball game within a minute, and the game is really significant, you can damn sure bet on the Saints to drop the ball and lose the football game. I don't know when the last time I seen Drew Brees and the Saints actually pull away with a W in this type of situation. So I learned that the 49ers are still incomplete, and I've also learned that the Saints are just not that team.
And what does that say about the playoffs and how the NFC is going to shape up and who's going to possibly make it to the Super Bowl?
Well, to me, Mike, it means that it's wide open because we're looking at right now, this was the number 1 and the number 2 seeds in the NFC. Now, the Saints had already clinched the playoff spot by winning the NFC South maybe, a week or two ago. So they already was in the division, in the playoffs. Of course, San Fran, they fighting for the home field advantage in the postseason. But still, if we're dealing with an incomplete team this late in the season and also a team that has a consistent record of not being able to win close games, close big games, it just leaves the NFC still wide open. Anybody can, still take it, I believe. What you think about it, Gio?
Yeah, the NFC is still open. I mean, we talking as if San Fran is guaranteed a top 2 seed when Seattle's 10-2 within their division. So it's plenty football games to be played.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, when you look at Jimmy G, J.O., do you think this game was like a coming out party for Jimmy G? Is this the Jimmy G we should be getting used to? Or is this like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Because we just seen what he did versus my guys, the Ravens, last week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think this game, because usually when quarterbacks win a shootout or they win in the last remaining seconds, that shows that they probably is ready for the playoffs if it comes to that 2-minute warning type of situation. So, he showed guts and poise. I still don't 100% trust him, but I mean, I can't fault anybody that's impressed and believe in him at this point.
Right. Can either one of you guys wrap your hands around Bill Belichick wanting to keep Jimmy G over Tom Brady? Like, I still don't get that move. Like, does any of y'all see why that would have been a good move for the Patriots?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. We'll see over time. I'm still observing Jimmy G myself. I'm like, this is his first season off of an injury, and so I don't know if he is at his full working order just yet. You know what I mean? Right. Like, he may need this whole season in order to show us how he's going to be on a consistent basis. So I don't think you can tell just yet. But I guess since that's the case, like, Tom Brady has still been here all these years since that trade. And so I guess right now I can't wrap my head around Bill Belichick doing that. All right, so yeah, I'll change my mind. No, I can't, because Tom Brady is still ticking, man. And they still in the hunt for a Super Bowl this year, even though it's not looking too good for them here in Week 14.
Well, speaking of the New England Patriots, let's take this thing up to Foxborough, fellas. The New England Patriots had their 21-game home winning streak, including the playoff snap today, with a 23-16 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, as their late comeback bid had fell a little bit short. Now, this loss, which included 2 questionable calls that went against the Patriots, dropped New England to 10-3. What's your thoughts, J.O., not only on this particular loss for the Patriots? Do you see Tom Brady actually still playing this game to 45 years of age and in a Patriots uniform?
Man, what is he, 42, seeing another 3 years, that's kind of hard to just say. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I don't see him being elite. Just like this year, we don't see him being elite. So I don't see him getting back into top 5 form or anything like that. So I think
wait a minute. I'm not gonna let you disrespect TB12 like that. Let's rewind. Let's take it back a little bit before I had to call the bosses on this one. So Tom Brady is no longer elite?
He's no longer elite.
Wow.
He's arguably not top 10 right now.
What? J.O., are you on drugs tonight? Who is Tom Brady throwing to? Who does he have?
Well, that goes on to what I'm saying. It all plays a part. He don't have Gronk. He don't have the safety net in Gronk anymore. We saw what happened with Antonio Brown and Josh Gordon. So where do we go from here with him?
I would give him a pass. That's where we go. We go to give Brady a pass.
Nah, we give him one more year to see if he can get better. If not, then it's time to just hang it up.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Mike, Tom Brady's contract is up after this season. I don't know if he will actually have another year in New England. What do you see for Brady's future?
I think it just depends on what happens for the rest of the year. Like, if they end up winning the Super Bowl, hopefully they won't do that. But if they do end up winning one, it's going to be hard to let the guy go, especially if he is performing in the playoffs, But if he ends up skunking it up, and say they still win, just by defense, like you may think about looking for some other options, but I don't know who they could replace him with at this time. I can't picture them being able to get a rookie quarterback that's just going to be able to come in and take over Tom Brady's starting spot next year. And I'm not sure of any other free agent quarterbacks on the market after this year. So maybe that's a possibility. So I guess some of my knowledge is incomplete as far as being able to answer this question accurately. But besides not knowing what other QBs are going to be free agents this coming off season, if Tom Brady plays good for the rest of the year and potentially wins a Super Bowl, I can't imagine that they won't re-sign him.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And I respect you, Mike. I respect you, J.O., but I cannot sit here and honestly just accept the fact that we're talking to the American public about Tom Brady not being elite and not being in the Patriots uniform next year based off of this year's performance or lack of, when he had no help. We're not talking about a brand new Johnny-come-lately quarterback that we don't know anything about. We've seen Tom Brady get it done with and without people. So, J.O., it's damn near blasphemous for you to not give TB12 a pass. He has no one at the skills positions. No one.
He has Julian Edelman.
Come on, man. After the flea flicker, and that was the problem today in the loss. Like, they started off so slow at the beginning of the game, with the exception of the 37-yard flea flicker to Julian Edelman. But, he don't have no help at all. Like, how can you expect these guys to jump out to a lead unless he turns into Lamar Jackson or something? Brady's damn sure going to throw the ball, catch it, and run it in for the Patriots to be successful this year. That's what it's looking like.
I'm sorry.
He got one more year, man. He got one more year to prove himself, but this year he's not winning the Super Bowl.
Wow. I can't believe that you're putting Tom Brady and prove himself
it's not a guarantee they win a division with both Buffalo on their heels. So it could get worse.
His decline has to come at some time, Seven. Come on now.
Not if you're the GOAT, it don't have to. If you're smart.
Well,
it does have to, man. You can't play you can't be out there when you're 60.
Look at LeBron. Look at LeBron.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He think LeBron is going to be the best player in the league at 50, so you might be talking to the wrong guy.
He is talking to the wrong guy. Because
man, come on now. LeBron probably going to play till he's 40, though. I can see that.
And he'll be the best. He'll be the best player in the league until he's 40. No question.
I can see him being the best player on his team wearing the number 23.
Don't matter what number. See, why we're not going to do this. This is not the night to be disrespectful to the number one team in the NBA. We're not going to do that, especially in the Western Conference. Huh?
I said they game about to start, too, in 23 minutes.
Shout out to the Lake Show. All right, last but not least, man, Week 14 in the NFL, man. This is the Best of 7 Sports Talk. 7 Mitchell, J.O., Mike in the building. Last but not least, I want to talk about J.O. had brought up the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. They took a close loss to my Baltimore Ravens today. It was a pretty good game out in Buffalo. J.O., what was your thoughts if you got a chance to see my Ravens and the Bills today?
I thought the Ravens, they didn't play their best game. I thought they kind of took Buffalo kind of light. But, I mean, in the big moments, Lamar Jackson made the plays they needed. They did. Just the defense was lights out. So, I mean, they played their C-plus game and got rid of Buffalo, so that was a good, impressive showing in that manner.
A C-plus game, huh?
Yeah, they didn't play. It was like one of their lightest games this year. I think you would agree.
I would agree that was not one of their stellar performances. But, I'm definitely wholeheartedly 100% going to disagree with the amount of disrespect that you're showing my Ravens. We clinched a playoff spot today. You're not bringing that up. Lamar Jackson just as close to the MVP after the day's performance. You didn't bring that up. I mean, where's the respect for the Ravens? You put some respect on my guy's name for once.
I mean, I said they played a C-plus game and still came out on top.
That's so disrespectful.
What more respect can I give them?
Wow. I mean, we're talking about...
That's a compliment.
That's not a compliment, Mike. We're talking about the hottest team in the NFL right now. Y'all are a bunch of haters, man. Mike, what did you see today between the Ravens and the Bills?
Man, I see that the Ravens got a vicious defense, man. They are not to be played with. I don't know who's going to beat them. I've been trying to think of somebody who could beat them since the game earlier today, and I just don't know of anybody in the AFC right now who's going to beat them just because they're just nice on all three levels of the defense. You know what I mean? From the line to the freaking secondary. You know what I mean? Like, it's just nice in all three areas. So just that combined with their running game, with the occasional play action passes and stuff, which it seems to be enough to get them more points than their opposition on a consistent basis. I just don't know if they're not the best team in the AFC right now. They might be the best team in the AFC. So shout out to the Ravens for that, man.
We don't want any shout outs, Mike, if you're not committed to this excellence. You're sitting here playing both sides of the fence talking about maybe they're the best in the AFC, maybe this and maybe that. Like, you two, just as like J.O., have no respect for the purple and black, I see, which is fine.
I have a lot of respect for the Ravens, man.
Where is it? Where is it? Did you leave it in a car?
They might be the best team in the AFC.
Where's this Mike? I don't see that one word, when you put that in conjunction with your statement.
I think Seven is seeing ghosts right now because I don't know where he's coming up with this. We criticize the Ravens.
This is what I'm seeing. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 25, 145 yards today. He had 3 touchdowns, fellas, throwing the football, not running this week. 3 touchdowns.
What about the interception?
He threw an interception. That's fine.
Okay,
he had a fumble last week, and you see what he did last week. We're not talking about someone that's perfect, but you're not.
Right.
What quarterback did we see today that really was better than Lamar? Like Jimmy G went off. He had 4 touchdowns and over 300 yards, but he had a turnover too. So, I mean, that's part of the game. But look at the consistency, man. Look at the dominance that we have in at the position. It's a couple things I just unbelievably didn't think that I would see. I didn't think I would ever see a black president. I never thought that it would be week 15 and the Ravens would have a quarterback in the MVP conversation. And I also would have never thought that the Baltimore Ravens after week 15 would be in a race for home field advantage. That is unheard of in the Brady era for someone else really to be getting home field advantage, especially my squad. So I'm hyped, and I need y'all to put some respect on my team's name now.
First of all, you forgot to mention you never thought Donald Trump be the president too.
Right.
Well, that's a fact. That's also a super fact. That's a super fact. We got to make America great again, man. And we got to get the Super Bowl. We got to get the Ravens with a 3rd Super Bowl ring. That's what we need. But we
don't, man. The world doesn't need that. America doesn't need that.
The world definitely needs a feel-good story, man. We from the bottom. We from the
No, y'all
bottom.
not. Man, y'all started winning as soon as y'all went to Baltimore. As soon as they got there, landed in Baltimore, here's a Super Bowl ring for you.
Well, that's what commitment do. That's what consists. That's what heart
I'm about
do.
to say, don't say commitment to excellence again, man. You still in our slogans.
Yeah, that's on the locker room. That's that's in our locker room, the Ravens locker room.
No, that's on the Raiders stadium, man.
Please.
That's our statement.
I don't even think y'all have a stadium. Y'all renting things out. Y'all don't even know where y'all going to. Vegas, Oakland, LA. Like, what's up with y'all?
Man, we going to Vegas next year. We got a great stadium too. The Ravens players gonna all want to play there. You see Marcus Peters out there. He played, man, Marcus Peters is dope. But he a Raider fan himself. So it ain't like we ain't got Raider fans on the Ravens roster.
Marcus Peters saved the game for us today.
I know he batted away that pass at the end of the game that ended the game. I forgot who he was guarding at the time, but he knocked it down.
Give me a percentage, J.O. Give me a percentage of the Ravens winning the Super Bowl this year. What percent chance does the Baltimore Ravens have of winning this year's Super Bowl?
In percentages, I'm gonna give them a 25%
Chance of winning. What percent do you have them of going to the Super Bowl?
going. 20%.
This is unbelievable. I really got to talk to the bosses, man. This is T7 on radio, man, but I got to talk to the bosses. There has to be a higher power that just can explain to me why J.O. is doing this. You give the Ravens a 20% chance to make it, but a 25% chance to win it. Okay. All right. I'm writing this down.
That means if they in it, they get a 25%.
I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes.
I'm with that too.
Oh, so you on the same energy, Mike. What percentage you giving my Ravens to make it to the Super Bowl and to win it?
Okay. To make it to the Super Bowl, like I think that them and the Texans the Texans and the Chiefs all have good chances to make it to the Super Bowl.
No way. No way.
But I don't think any of those teams could beat the top dogs in the NFC. So I give the Ravens a 25% chance to make it to the Super Bowl, and I'll go with the 25% of winning the Super Bowl if they make it. You know what I mean? Just like J.O. was saying. I give the NFC team 75%.
J.O., are you considering your team to be one of those top dogs in the NFC? Because J.O. likes the Green Bay Packers. So, J.O., do you like?
So why are you trying to be disrespectful?
Because Aaron Rodgers and company is like a roller coaster. Let's not act like your team has been one of the more inconsistent teams that we've been accustomed to seeing over the last 3 to 5 years.
First of all, we a 10-3 team. First and foremost, we probably not the greatest 10-3 team right now. We may not be as great as our records have shown, but I still have confidence in my team. About another month, we'll be just rolling on all cylinders.
Interesting. You sold on the Green Bay Packers, Mike?
Yeah, I think they better than the Ravens. But
Wow.
Why
is that? They don't have nowhere near the running game as Baltimore, nor the defense. So what are we talking about?
I just believe in Aaron Rodgers, man. Like
you don't believe in Lamar Jackson?
I believe in Lamar Jackson too. I believe in him. I definitely do, man. I don't know. Like if they matched up in the Super Bowl right now, as of December 8th, I would pick the Packers just because they just find ways to win, and they're used to winning, unlike the Ravens, man. I don't know. You guys haven't won in a few years, and this is new to Lamar Jackson. It would be a new stage for him, you know what I mean? That's kind of big. Aaron Rodgers been there before. So I would have to go with the Packers if those two were to meet in the Super Bowl. But I really don't think the Packers are going to make the Super Bowl, but they are pretty good, man. They good for this point in the season when they, like you said, they look like a roller coaster team, but they end up winning.
They are a roller coaster team. We see this script of this movie every damn year, damn near, when they come to J.O.'s team. They always good enough in the regular season to get to the playoffs, and then what happens? Aaron Rodgers have not been to the Super Bowl since 2009?
2011.
Terrible.
And I agree. And I don't think they'll make it to the Super Bowl. I just think if they did make it to the Super Bowl, they would beat
Overrated.
the majority of the AFC teams.
Overrated.
Maybe,
we'll do that.
maybe the Texans will
Overrated.
give them
Overrated, J.O. You hear that? Overrated. Your Green Bay Packers is overrated.
Wow.
I don't think they're overrated because who rates them? Nobody talks about the Packers.
Listening to you guys, you putting a lot of more respect on their name than y'all had on my Ravens.
I said the Ravens the best team in the whole conference.
No. You had mites.
He want us to guarantee a Super Bowl
for Baltimore. All right, man. Let's get to the next topic, man. It's the Best of 7 Sports Talk, T7M Radio, 7 Mitchell, J.O., Mike in the building. Let's dip into some boxing, man. Let's get into a little bit of recap and review of yesterday's heavyweight title fight. Anthony Joshua regains his championship, now the 2-time heavyweight champion, beating Andy Ruiz Jr. yesterday. It went the distance. I was disappointed in this fight. I'm not going to lie to you fellas. I was kind of disappointed in this fight. It looked like clearly AJ had a strategy to box his way to a win, and he did what he was supposed to do. I'm not mad at that. I'm a little bit disappointed that he wasn't as aggressive as I'm used to seeing from him. Ruiz was a joke to me, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but, he got some hands and he had some moments in this fight, but he coming to this fight way overweight. And then immediately after the fight, he's making excuses, talking about how he was overweight, and he's interrupting post-game interviews talking about he wants a rematch and all that. Like, I don't want to see no trilogy. Ruiz had his opportunity. I thought he stole the show in the first fight. This second fight, to me, just does not warrant a trilogy. Like, I'm done with Ruiz. Like, his feel-good story for me is out the window, man. He just did not look good at all to me yesterday, man. I was really disappointed in him. And like we had in predictions, I felt like he was going to win because I thought AJ was too uptight. I was very disappointed in Ruiz, man. At some points it looked like he just did not come to fight.
I agree, man. He was way too heavy, and he definitely had a plan. I think he purposely tried to be that heavy because he was going to try to put his body on Joshua and try to trap him, you know what I mean, and just like be physical with him.
Right.
But maybe he didn't take into consideration that they were going to have a 22-foot freaking ring. Maybe they didn't understand that because that ring was huge, so it gave AJ room to move, man. And that was just a bad strategy that
they could have fought. They could have fought in the bathroom. There was nothing Ruiz did yesterday that was impressive to me, really. Like I said, he had his little moments, but as a champion, no. I did not see that spirit. I did not see a champion fighting last night. Not at all, man. Not at all. And I don't want to see him again when it comes to a trilogy or a rematch for the championship. No. What was your thoughts on this, J.O.?
First of all, it was one of the most unprofessional moments I've seen in sports. I don't know how you know what this reminds me of when Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson.
Thank
then
you.
He came out of shape for Evander Holyfield.
And got destroyed. Absolutely. That is a great comparison because it played out just like that. The Ruiz upset versus Anthony Joshua in the first fight, I think that probably was the biggest upset, especially in this division, since Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson fight. So you very on point with that comparison. Now, I want to ask y'all fellas this, though, not to cut you off. I want to ask y'all fellas this. ESPN had came out with a top 10 list of heavyweights. And I think this list came out maybe a day or two prior to the fight. But ESPN had Deontay Wilder as number 1, Tyson Fury number 2. They had Andy Ruiz Jr. number 3, AJ number 4, and they had Dillian White number 5. These as the top 5 heavyweights in boxing. Mike, do you agree with that list in that order?
No, not at all. Of course not.
Okay, what are you switching? Or who are you replacing?
Well, yeah, Dillian White's not in the top 5 of the heavyweights, man. Not even close. He boxed yesterday. I don't know if you guys seen that fight.
Yeah, I did see that. He was rusty, but you know, that's
that
a
wasn't
given.
no rush, man. He just fought in July, and he fought in July. How are you rusty?
Well,
You know what I mean? That's not rust.
Maybe you got a good point there. You might got a good point there.
That's a very good point. He just fought in July, and he just cheated in July. And
I don't like Dillian White because I think I don't want to call him a clout chaser because he has put the work in. He's not like a culture vulture. But when it comes to Anthony Joshua, he's clout chasing. And I know you got a gun for the championship and you want a gun for the title, but I do not like his energy when it comes to Anthony Joshua. Like, make your own lane. Make your own lane. He's sitting up there congratulating AJ, hoping AJ win the fight, and it's not genuine. It's because you want another shot at AJ. You want to get your shot, and you know, just don't be real about it.
He had a shot at AJ earlier this year. They offered Dillian White a fight in April of this year in London, and he turned it down. So he is just clout chasing because they already offered him a fight earlier this year. But yeah, he's not in the top 5, man. Like, scratch him out, remove him. You know what I mean? And then we could put Ortiz in the top 5, and Joshua, of course, is in there. I still have Ruiz top 6 at the least. You know, I feel like he came in there with a bad strategy yesterday, but that doesn't mean he can't fight, man. This dude got hands.
Luis Ortiz is not rounding out my top 5 after getting beat on by Deontay twice. And this last time was just like he was looking crazy in the ring. Like, no, he's not in my top 5. I know people have been scared to fight Ortiz over the years, but no, he's not my top 5. I'm not substituting Dillian White for Luis Ortiz. I don't know about that.
Do you know that Ortiz tried to fight Dillian White a year ago today? Well, not today, like last December, 2018. Luis Ortiz and Dillian White were ordered by the WBC to fight each other. Ortiz said, let's do it. White said, I don't want to fight that guy. Forget White, man. He can't be over Ortiz on no list if anybody actually look at what's unfolded through the division over the last few years.
Well, that's a whole different – I think that's a whole different conversation because – and you follow boxing, Mike. If Dillian White is chasing championships, Luis Ortiz ain't holding nothing. So it really wouldn't make that much sense for him to fight him if he was chasing AJ or Deontay, especially last year. It really wouldn't make no sense for him to take that chance and fight Ortiz and get knocked out when he's chasing the goal. So I get why Deontay wouldn't take that. I mean, I get why Dillian wouldn't take the fight. I get it.
No, that's what he could have did to get a fight with Wilder was fight Ortiz. The WBC ordered it.
But he was a mandatory. He was mandatory.
No, he wasn't the mandatory. He wasn't the mandatory. He was a like what they call a regular champion or interim champion. But if you read the WBC rules, the interim champion is not the mandatory. The mandatory is the number 1 position.
I thought he was going to be the mandatory after this last fight before he had got caught up with the positive testing. What do you think about that?
That was his mandatory fight. That was his fight to see if he would be mandatory when he fought Oscar Rivas back in July of this year. That was his fight to decide whether he would be mandatory. But he had chances prior to that he didn't want to take because he really doesn't want to fight Wilder. He already knows his fate if he steps in between those ropes against Wilder, you know what I mean? So,
J.O., who's the top 5? Do you agree with this list as far as Wilder, Fury, Ruiz, AJ, and Dillian White being the top 5? Do you agree with that?
I mean, of course, Joshua and Ruiz will have the foot slots. I'm cool with that because, you know, if somebody want to put Joshua in front of Fury, you know, that can be debated because at least Fury had enough guts to fight Wilder and was winning for the most part of that fight. A lot of people think he won the fight. So I'm fine with that top 5.
Ruiz need to go. I'm surprised none of y'all brought that up. And I know, like I said, this list probably was I think this dropped maybe a day before the fight. But he's not the number 3 best boxer in the world. That's ridiculous, especially after what we've seen. He's not top 5. You want to take somebody out, Mike? Take Andy Ruiz out.
Nah, man. I think Ruiz might still be top 5. Like, I got Wilder, Fury, Joshua, Ortiz, Ruiz. You know what I mean? And maybe Usyk. Like Usyk could maybe come to the top 5. He has to prove himself at heavyweight. But when it's all said and done, I'm gonna let both of y'all know, just like right off rip, I think it's gonna come down to Deontay Wilder versus Alexander Usyk. Like that's gonna determine the king of the division. Like I know Usyk is he new to the division. He only had one fight and he didn't look so great in that first fight. But I feel like when it's all said and done, it's gonna be those two. I think Wilder's gonna take out Fury and hopefully and then Joshua and Usyk are scheduled. They've been mandated by the WBO to fight within the next 180 days. So that's 6 months. So Usyk and Joshua is scheduled. They got to set up a schedule to fight within the next 6 months. So Usyk and Joshua are going to eliminate one of each other. So the belt's going to go to either Usyk or Joshua, and the belt's going to either go to Wilder or Fury. I'm saying Wilder is going to beat Fury, and I'm saying Usyk is going to beat Joshua. So I'm saying Wilder and Usyk for the undisputed. And so I might put Usyk in the top 5, but he just hasn't proven himself yet.
Well, he's number 10 on the list overall that ESPN had dropped. So shout out to Usyk. J.O., before we get out of here, so who is the best heavyweight? Is it Deontay Wilder in your opinion, J.O.?
It's Deontay Wilder.
By a long shot or not?
Not a long shot, but pretty clear.
Who's the close second? Is it Fury or is it AJ? If you had to put your rent money on it, like who is it going to be?
I may go with Joshua. I think he has the athletic ability to match Wilder better than Fury.
Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber.
Is he the best boxer or is he just the best heavyweight?
Oh, like what do you mean best boxer?
I mean, as far as skill set, you can be powerful. I mean, a lot of his career, people have talked about how, the right hand is dominant, but as far as the skills, he's just real sloppy with it. He's not as tight with the skills as some other boxers.